You'd get used to being alone on the road. That's the first thing they don't tell you. You think it's going to be the schedule, the parking, the caffeine shakes, but no, it's the silence that eats at you. You drive long enough, and that silence starts talking back. For me, it started with a stretch of highway in New Mexico, just east of Gallup, past the last gas station for 50 miles. Flat land. Dead hills. No towns, no people, no light. I was hauling a refrigerated load, doing the overnight to beat the heat. My cab's clock read 2:13 a.m. when I saw the first one. A mile marker. Bent at an angle. Not much to look at, just the green post and white numbers, maybe tilted 30 degrees toward the asphalt. I didn't think much of it. Probably got clipped by a snowplow or drunk kid. But then the next one, mile 172, was bent too. Same angle, same direction. Then mile 171. Then 170. Every single post leaning. Not random, not damaged, aligned. Like they were bowing towards something up ahead. I slowed the truck down to 40. Started checking my mirrors. Nothing behind me. I tried the CB radio just to hear another voice, but it was all static. I flicked through music stations, same thing. Dead air. And that's when I realized I hadn't seen another car in over an hour. Not one. Not a pair of headlights, not a single tail light in the distance. It was like the world behind me had disappeared, and I hadn't noticed. I started counting the bent markers aloud as I passed them. 170. 169. 168. My voice sounded thin in the cab. Scared. When I reached mile 165, I slowed to a crawl. The post was missing entirely. Just a scar in the gravel where it had been ripped from the ground. A pit, like something had dug under it and pulled it in. I stared at that hole as I rolled past. I remember thinking the dirt around it looked wet. Not from rain. Darker. Like something had bled out. I almost turned the truck around right there. But I didn't. Instead, I sped up. I thought maybe if I just got past this section, got back to civilization, I could laugh it off later. Let it be a weird story for the diner counter. But a few miles later I saw it. A second set of mile markers. Not on the left, not the usual ones for oncoming traffic. No, these were between the lanes. Half sunk in the dirt, newer looking, shorter, their numbers painted in red. No state sign, no DOT logo. Just numbers. The first one said 000, then 001, then 002. They were counting up. My breath caught in my throat. That's when I noticed something else. My headlights. They weren't illuminating the ground the way they should. The light was bending, like it was being swallowed up a few feet ahead. The pavement was getting darker. Not dim, darker, like it had been scorched. The GPS flickered. The screen flashed white for a second, then black. It rebooted without prompt. When it came back, it didn't show any roads. Just a blank grid with a blinking red dot that wasn't moving. That's when I realized I couldn't hear the engine anymore. My foot was on the gas. Tachometer said I was pushing 65. But there was no sound. Not the rumble of the engine. Not the hum of tires. Not even wind. Just dead silence. Like the truck was gliding. Like I wasn't on a road anymore. The headlights were still on. I could see the reflection on the hood, but nothing ahead. The road had gone flat black, absorbing the light like it wasn't there. I tapped the brakes, nothing. No response. My foot hit the floor, but the truck didn't slow. It was like momentum had become an illusion. I reached for the CB again. Static. Then something else, beneath the static, a sound like breathing. Long, rasping inhales that didn't match mine. It felt close. Like someone sitting in the jump seat, just out of sight. I turned my head. Empty. But the mirror had fogged. I don't know why, but that did it. I panicked. Slammed the wheel to the right. The truck didn't budge. I tried to open the driver's side door. Jammed. I tried the passenger side. Same. The cab lights weren't working. My hands were shaking. I started yelling. I'm awake! I'm awake! I don't even know why I said it. I looked out again, just as the red mile marker passed under me. 017. My eyes followed it back through the mirror, where I saw it flicker. The number blinked. For a split second it said 187. Then back to 017. And then I saw the other truck. Behind me. Headlights small and sharp, like two white eyes. No rumble. No hum. Just there. Tailgating. Too close. I couldn't see a cab, no logo, no shape, just lights, pressing closer. I tapped the brakes again. Nothing. I tried to radio. Vehicle behind me, too close. Can anyone hear this? No response. Just that same ragged breathing. Then a voice whispered, You missed it. I screamed. The radio clicked off. I glanced back. The truck was gone. No lights. Nothing behind me. Nothing in front. And the road. The road was changing. It wasn't asphalt anymore. The lines were gone. The rumble of tires was now a low, wet dragging sound. Like I was hauling through mud. I looked down. My foot was no longer on the gas. My legs were gone. I stared. My lap was flat, jeans, boots, everything looked right, but I couldn't feel them. I pounded my fists against my legs. Nothing. I opened the glove box. There was a photo in there I didn't recognize. A man, standing next to a truck. He looked like me. Same build. But the eyes too dark. Smiling like he knew something I didn't. The photo was labeled Miles 000. I started sobbing. Begging out loud. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come back. The GPS blinked once more. The screen showed a final message. Route absorbed. And then everything went black. I woke up in my sleeper cab. Dawn. Idling at a rest stop near Santa Rosa. No memory of pulling in. My logbook said I hadn't driven a mile all night. I checked the truck, normal. I was parked neatly. Nothing broken. Except the mileage counter. It had reset. Odometer read 00000. The fuel gauge was full. My load was untouched. I stepped out, thinking I'd finally lost it. But there, by the trash can near the diesel pump, was a green mile marker. Propped like trash. It read 165. Bent at a perfect angle. Toward me. I reported none of it. I still take jobs. Still drive. But I never count mile markers anymore. And if I see one bent in my mirror, I don't look back. When you're running empty, no cargo, no deadline, they call it deadheading. Just burning fuel, bouncing between gigs. It's supposed to be the easiest kind of drive. No way stations. No logbook stress. No one waiting on the other end. But that silence can rot you from the inside. Last year, around early spring, I took a route from Cheyenne to Billings. I was hauling livestock feed up, then deadheading home. Easy run. No issues on the way up. But the trip back. I don't talk about it often. I left Billings at dusk. Took the 87 south, should have been peaceful. Sky was a soft purple. Air still had the bite of winter. The kind of drive where you set the cruise control and let your brain go quiet. Somewhere near Roundup, I passed a man walking the shoulder. Just a silhouette in my mirror, gray coat, shoulders hunched forward. Nothing unusual about it except, there's nothing out there. Not for miles. Didn't think much of it at the time. Gave the horn a quick tap, one of those habitual warnings. I watched the figure shrink in the rearview, fading into the gathering dark. About 20 minutes later, I saw him again. Same coat. Same shuffle. Same spot, shoulder left side. I felt a prickle on my arms. It wasn't just that I'd seen someone walking again. It was how he moved. Like he hadn't moved at all. I slowed, real slow. Looked out the passenger window. But this time, when I passed him, he turned. Not his body, just his head. Sharp and slow. He looked straight at me. And I swear to God he smiled. It was faint. But enough. I accelerated. Fast. Pushed to 70, then 80. CB silent. Radio off. I checked the mirror every few seconds. No one. The sky went from purple to black. At 9:32 p.m., I pulled into a tiny rest area. 2 parking spots, a rusted bench, 1 trash can, no lights. I wasn't tired, just rattled. Needed to splash water on my face, shake it off. I parked. Turned the engine off. The sudden silence felt deafening. I got out. The wind smelled wrong, sweet, almost rotten. I stood by the cab door and listened. Somewhere behind the trees, I thought I heard footsteps. Not fast. Just deliberate. I turned on my phone flashlight. Pointed it at the edge of the woods. Nothing. I ducked back into the cab and locked the doors. Sat there with the dome light on, heart thudding. Told myself I was being paranoid. Long hours do that. Then I saw movement in the passenger side mirror. A flash of gray. Closer now. I leaned forward. There he was. Standing 10 feet from my truck. On the passenger side. No expression this time. Just staring. I fumbled for the ignition. He wouldn't turn. I was sweating, muttering, "Come on, come on," under my breath. Then, a knock. Soft. On the passenger window. He didn't move. Just stared, hands still on the glass. For fingers. No thumb. That detail didn't register until later. I hit the lock button again out of panic. And the window started rolling down. By itself. The window rolled halfway down before I grabbed the switch and slammed it shut. Locked it again for good measure, even though I knew locks wouldn't matter. Not against whatever that thing was. He didn't react. Just stood there, head tilted slightly, like he was listening for something. His coat hung off him like wet paper. And his fingers, God, his fingers still pressed flat to the glass, twitching slightly like they were straining for a signal. And then, finally, he stepped back. I didn't wait. I jammed the key, got lucky. The engine roared to life, louder than I'd ever heard it. I hit the lights. He was gone. Just gone. I didn't see him move. No rustling. No steps. Just empty gravel and forest. Like he'd blinked out of frame. I tore out of there so fast my trailer tires kicked gravel halfway to the tree-line. After a mile, I started breathing again. Kept checking the mirrors. Just trees, highway, nothing else. I told myself I'd hallucinated it. Exhaustion, some trick of the light. That I'd stop at a real truck stop, get some coffee, reset. Except, I never passed another car. Not one. And the road started to feel off. Like it wasn't stretching forward anymore, but curving inward. Repeating. I passed the same piece of roadkill twice. A small deer, or maybe a coyote. Its ribcage gleamed under my lights, picked clean. And then I saw the man again. Ahead of me this time. Standing in the center of the highway. I slammed the brakes. Tires shrieked. The cab bucked. But when I stopped, there was nothing there. Just silence. Road. Headlights painting the void. And a mile marker beside me, 33. I looked at it too long. The number didn't feel right. It looked hand-painted. Red. Uneven. I hit the gas. Didn't care what was in the road anymore. Kept driving. The GPS refused to load. My phone wouldn't unlock. And then the radio turned itself on again, softly, crackling through a song I couldn't recognize. It had no lyrics. Just warbling static over a slow, wet dragging sound. Like someone pulling a sack of bones across pavement. I drove until I saw lights, at last. A real truck stop. Fluorescents humming. Diesel pumps. A diner with an open sign. A goddamn miracle. I parked, stumbled inside, shaking. The guy behind the counter barely looked up. "You all right?" he asked. Yeah, I lied. Deadheading home. He nodded. Rough night? Sort of. I looked around. Place was empty. Deserted. No other rigs. Just mine. Where am I? I asked. Lewistown, he said. You're about 100 miles from Billings. That didn't make sense. I'd driven for 3 hours. I sat down, ordered black coffee, tried to calm down. When he brought it, I noticed something. His hands. 4 fingers. No thumb. Same twitch. He smiled. Said, "Don't deadhead this way again." I left the coffee untouched. When I got back to my truck, there were muddy handprints on the passenger side door. A trail of them, like someone had circled the truck over and over, stopping at the window each time. I wiped them off. Not because I didn't want anyone to see, but because I was afraid they'd still be warm. I used to laugh at the idea of rest stop paranoia. Drivers swapping ghost stories in break rooms. "Don't sleep near mile 223, they'd say. "You'll wake up somewhere else." All nonsense, I thought. Then I stopped at exit 51. Just off I-10, near the Arizona-New Mexico border. I hadn't planned to stop, but my eyes were doing that heavy blink thing, the kind where you're not sure how long they've been closed. So when the sign flicked by, rest area, 1 mile, exit 51, I veered off without thinking. The parking lot was almost empty. 1 car. A dusty Civic with all its windows down. No one inside. The place felt dead, but not in the usual way. No crickets. No engine hums. Just this weird, padded silence, like sound was being absorbed by something bigger. I parked at the far end, near the trailhead signs. Grabbed a bottle of water, did a slow lap of the lot, just trying to get my blood moving. The lights overhead were buzzing erratically, some flickered, some didn't light at all. The air smelled like metal and dry grass. Then I noticed the building. Every rest stop has one, those squat little concrete bunkers with vending machines and bathrooms. This one was slightly sunken, like it had been built into the ground. A short ramp led down to a darkened entrance. The door was open. Not wide, just enough to show that the lights inside were off. No humming fluorescents. Just darkness. I don't know why I went down the ramp. Curiosity, I guess. My boots echoed. The sound got swallowed quick. I stood just outside the door and listened. Nothing. Then something. Water. A single drip. Every few seconds. Steady. Almost mechanical. I called out. "Hello?" No answer. I turned back. That's when I noticed my truck was gone. Not just missing from view, gone. Like the lot was empty now. No Civic. No trailhead sign. Just bare pavement and trees. I ran up the ramp. Gone. Everything was wrong. The air was heavier, the sky slightly darker than it had been seconds ago. I spun around, heart pounding. No wind. No movement. I grabbed my phone, no bars. No Wi-Fi. No GPS. Just a blinking clock stuck at 12:51 a.m. I ran back down, into the building. I needed light, people, anything. Inside was colder. Not the usual stale AC chill, but damp cold. The kind that sticks to your skin. I found the bathroom door, pushed it open. The smell hit first. Not sewage, something more acidic. Like rust and bleach. The mirrors had been torn out. Just outlines left, rusted brackets. Graffiti was scrawled on the walls. Mostly gibberish, but one message stood out. "Don't look in the last stall." I stepped back. My mouth was dry. The stalls were all open. Except the last one. Of course. I should have left. I knew I should have. But some part of me felt like I was being dared. Pulled. I crept forward. The door was ajar. Just wide enough to see the base of the toilet. Something red smeared the floor. Not fresh, but recent. I reached for the door. My fingers were inches away. And then it slammed shut. Hard enough to shake the floor. I stumbled back, hit the sink, turned to bolt, and the mirror was back. Just one, above the sink. But what I saw in it wasn't me. It was my truck, parked in the lot. But the cab was running, and someone was sitting inside. I stared into the mirror. It showed the rest stop as I'd left it, moonlight, empty lot, my truck running. But that wasn't right. I was inside. Underground. I looked behind me, bare concrete, no mirrors, no windows. Just the dead stalls and that smell. In the mirror, someone sat in my truck. I leaned closer. Tried to make out the shape. The figure wasn't moving. Just there. Head turned, looking toward the building. Toward me. And then it smiled. I flinched. The image rippled like water. The figure's hand reached for the wheel. The truck began to drive off. I bolted. Up the ramp, 2 steps at a time, my boots slipping on loose gravel. The lot came into view, and just like the mirror showed, my truck was there, rolling forward without a driver. I screamed. Ran straight for it. But by the time I hit the pavement, it was already gone. Rolling past the tree line, swallowed by the dark. The Civic was back though. Still empty. Still dusty. This time, the headlights were on, pointed toward me. I approached it slowly, adrenaline screaming in my ears. Looked through the windshield, no keys. Just a stack of newspapers in the back seat, yellow with age. Dated October 1997. I opened the driver's door. The dome light flickered. On the passenger seat, there was a receipt from a gas station long shuttered, and a photo. It was a picture of me, standing next to my truck. Except the license plate was wrong. And my eyes weren't quite right. Too dark. No reflection. Like someone had filled them in with marker. I dropped the photo. Got in the Civic. No keys, no ignition response. Just dead silence, like everything else here. I sat there for a minute, breathing hard, gripping the wheel. My hands left sweat marks on the leather. Then I saw movement in the rearview. Not in the car. Behind me. In the lot. That same figure. Gray coat. Still. Watching. I turned to look. Nothing there. Back to the mirror, still there. Closer now. I reached for the handle. Slam. All doors locked themselves. The Civic shuddered. Like something had jumped on the roof. The windshield cracked down the center. And then a sound. Not from outside, from under the car. Scraping. Like fingernails dragging across metal. I couldn't scream. Couldn't move. The engine turned over. All by itself. The Civic's lights shut off. And the radio clicked on. Just static, whispering in patterns that almost sounded like words. I leaned in, trying to make it out. It said my name. Clear as day. Matthew. That broke me. I threw myself at the door, pounding until it gave way. Rolled onto the pavement, gasping. The Civic was silent behind me. The rest stoplights flickered once, then stayed dark. I didn't stop running until I hit the road. No headlights. No sounds. But in the distance, I saw something familiar. My truck. Parked at the side of the highway. Cab light on. I sprinted. As I got closer, I saw the figure again, sitting in the driver's seat. It opened the door as I approached, stepped out. And it was me. Same face. Same jacket. Same sweat-stained hat. Except the eyes were black holes. I collapsed to my knees. The figure stepped past me, calm and silent, and walked toward the trees. Disappeared. I climbed into the truck. Locked the doors. Checked the mirrors over and over. Empty highway. Odometer reset. Fuel full. I drove straight until sunrise. Never stopped at exit 51 again. And I never, ever checked the last stall. I used to drive nights with the CB on low, just to feel less alone. Some guys keep it off, say it's just nonsense, garbage chatter, but I liked the voices. They made the road feel smaller. Then I met Breaker 6. It was late. Westbound through Oklahoma. Empty stretch, no towns for miles, just the endless hum of asphalt. I was somewhere near mile marker 302 when the static cleared, and a voice came through, low, gravelly. Breaker 1 to 9, any ears on? I keyed up. Copy, this is Dustcap. You're clear. There was a long pause. Then, what year is it? I laughed. Figured it was a joke. It's 2024, brother. You lose a calendar? Another pause. Then the voice came back, quieter. Still wrong. I eased back in my seat, suddenly more awake. Say again? He didn't respond. Just static. I let it go. Widows on the radio weren't rare. Kept rolling, tried to shake it. About 20 minutes later, a new voice came through. You talking to Breaker 6? This one said, urgent. If you did, pull over. Now. It jolted me. What the hell for? No time to explain. Just pull off and wait 10 minutes. Don't let him follow. That's when I looked in my side mirror. Headlights. A pair of them. About a quarter mile back. No other cars had been around for hours. I leaned toward the mirror. The lights weren't right, too white, too narrow. And steady. No bounce, no sway. Like they were fixed in place. I clicked the CB again. You're saying that's Breaker 6 behind me? No answer. The signal was dead. I watched the lights get closer. I sped up. They matched me. Exact speed? I hit 70. Then 80. No matter how fast I went, the lights stayed right there. No engine noise. No road noise. Just those beams, perfectly still in my mirror. I took the next exit without thinking, some narrow off-ramp leading to a gravel service road. The truck rocked hard as I hit the uneven path. I stopped behind a cluster of trees. Killed the engine. Waited. Minutes passed. Nothing came down the ramp. I leaned back, heart pounding. Then the CB crackled. You can't outrun what's behind you, Breaker 6 whispered. I didn't touch the mic. Just listened. You drive with ghosts, Dustcap. Same as me. Silence. Then something hit the side of the trailer. Hard. Like a palm. Then another. Then again. I grabbed my flashlight, hard hammering, and jumped out. Ran around the rig. Nobody there. Just dust settling. Gravel shifting under my boots. Back in the cab, I locked the doors. The CB stayed quiet. I sat there until sunrise. Then I started driving again, slowly, eyes glued to the mirrors. No headlights behind me. Just my own shadow stretching out ahead. I tried to report it at the next way station. Not officially, just to the guy working the scales. Asked if he'd heard of a Breaker 6 on the CB. He looked at me like I was joking. Breaker what? I repeated it. His face changed. Been a long time since anyone used that handle, he said, then tapped his temple. Some say it's just highway folklore. Some say? I asked. He leaned in. 20 years ago, a driver using that call sign disappeared. Left his rig idling at a rest stop outside Tulsa. Door open. CB running hot. They found his logbook on the dash with the last entry scratched out so hard the page tore. What did it say? He frowned. Just the number 6. Over and over. I left after that. Tried to shake it. Told myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Sleep deprivation. Road haze. Audio bleed on the CB. But the next night, heading through Missouri, the voice came back. Breaker 1 to 9, you copy? Same gravel voice. Same flat tone. Like a man underwater. I didn't answer. Dustcap, don't run. He knew my handle. The lights appeared again. Mirror only. Never the road ahead, never from the sides, just behind, hovering. I pulled onto the shoulder. Opened the door slowly. My boots crunched gravel, but the night was silent. No wind. No bugs. Not even the distant groan of highway. Just quiet. I stepped away from the truck, flashlight raised. Scanned the field. There was a figure, about 30 feet out. Not moving. Not breathing. Wearing a jacket like mine. I shouted. "Who are you?" It didn't respond. Just raised one arm and pointed, behind me. I turned. And saw myself. Standing by the truck door. I fell. Scrambled backwards into the grass, panting. The second me just stood there, expression blank. Then the CB inside the truck crackled. "You see it now, don't you?" I tried to speak but couldn't. My throat closed up. "You've been deadheading a long time, dust cap." Then both figures vanished. Not walked. Not blinked. Gone. The flashlight died. I made it back to the truck, locked every door, turned the engine on and drove until I hit a truck stop with at least 10 rigs in the lot. Parked in the middle. Surrounded myself with people. Didn't sleep. The next day, I checked the back of the trailer. Dust covered everything. But someone had written something in the grime with a fingertip. 6s. A spiral of them. Hundreds. Like a whirlpool of ink. That was my last long haul. I moved to regional routes after that. Days only. No CB. I pretend it never happened. I don't respond to my handle anymore. It's better that way. But sometimes, late at night, I still check the mirror. And when I do, I never look too long. Because sometimes, I see those lights. Still there. Still behind me. And I know if I ever answer again, I won't come back. This was back when I still did grocery distribution. Night runs, mostly to mid-sized warehouse hubs. That meant, lumpers, third-party guys who unload your trailer while you wait. You don't talk to them. You barely see them. It's always under flickering sodium lights at 3 a.m., with the radio mumbling some old country song in the background. It was routine. Until Joliet. I'd gotten there around 2:45 a.m., checked in at the shack. A guy with a stained clipboard gave me a bay number, 47, and told me to back in, leave the keys on the dash, and wait in the lounge. Same as always. But when I pulled around the lot, I noticed something weird. Bay 47 didn't have any lights above it. The whole loading dock was dark, no forklift hum, no chatter, nothing. Just a black rectangle under a sagging awning. I backed in anyway. Perfect fit, clean slide. Killed the engine. Left the keys on the dash. I should have noticed the smell. It was faint, like dust and iron. Not rot. Not quite blood. But something stale, like the inside of a box sealed too long. I chalked it up to produce. Maybe spoiled cabbage. I walked to the driver lounge, a prefab trailer with bad linoleum and 2 vending machines. Coffee pot was empty. TV off. One other guy sat in the corner, hood up, slumped deep in his jacket. I gave him a nod. No response. Sat down. Waited. An hour passed. No movement from the dock. I hadn't heard the trailer door open. No forklift squeals. No voices. I went outside. Still dark at Bay 47. I walked around to the back of my trailer. The door was shut. Still sealed. I stared for a moment, then knocked. Nothing. Then I heard it. Inside the trailer. Shuffling. Not boots on a floor. Bare feet. Slow, careful. Like someone walking across spilled rice. I stepped back. Then the door rattled. Just once. Like a soft warning. I looked around. Not a soul in sight. The security booth was empty. No one in the office windows. The only thing moving was a shopping cart at the far end of the lot, caught in the wind. I went back inside. The guy in the corner hadn't moved. "Hey," I said louder. "You waiting for Bay 47? He didn't answer. I stepped closer. He wasn't breathing. I pulled back the hood. His eyes were open. Wide. Mouth slightly parted. Skin pale, bluish. Like he'd been there a long time. But he hadn't. I'd seen him move when I walked in. His foot had twitched. I ran to the office door. Locked. Pounded on it. No lights came on. No one came out. I turned back toward the lounge. The body was gone. Just the jacket, crumpled on the floor. I sprinted to my truck. Climbed into the cab. Locked both doors. Radioed dispatch. No signal. Checked my phone. Dead, though it had been full an hour ago. And then, the trailer door opened. No sound. Just the faintest hiss of air pressure, like something had shifted. Then footsteps. Not hurrying. Just stepping, slow and deliberate, onto the concrete dock. And I realized something. Whoever was back there had been in my trailer the entire time. The footsteps circled the trailer, slow, deliberate, as if whoever was back there was mapping the perimeter. I didn't breathe. I didn't dare move. I reached for the ignition, desperate, but it only clicked. Nothing. Dead. My truck, my lifeline, silent. That's when I saw the shadow outside the passenger window. Not a person. Too long. Too narrow. Limbs bent at the wrong angles, like something that had studied human form but never got it right. The handle twitched. Locked. Thank God. My heart thudded so loud I thought it would shake the cab apart. Then the CB radio burst to life, too loud, static at first, then a voice like water churning over gravel. Unload complete. I grabbed the mic instinctively. Who the hell is this? Silence. Then laughter. Not from the radio, from behind me. From the sleeper. I turned. The curtain moved. Just a shift. Barely noticeable. But I hadn't touched that curtain in days. I reached, hand trembling, and just before I made contact, it yanked open from the inside. Nothing. No one there. But the smell hit me, metallic, moldy, like rotting meat and earth packed in the dark. Then I felt the truck roll. Not start, roll. Tires moving under their own weight. As if pushed. I hit the brakes, dead. The wheels stiff. No control. The dock faded. Joliet gone. The sky above turned deep red, like film developing fluid poured across a windshield. We were in a tunnel now, concrete walls dripping with condensation. Overhead lights blinked in slow pulses, casting shadows like vertical scars. I could feel it still in the trailer. Moving. Shifting weight. Scraping. Then it knocked. 3 times. Measured. Heavy. Like it knew I was listening. I whispered, "What do you want?" The CB hissed and responded in that sludgy voice. "We all carry something." I flinched. The words didn't come through the speaker, they echoed inside me. In my head. No sound, just thought. My stomach turned to ice. The tunnel tightened. The lights grew closer together. I could see the end now, an opening. Daylight. The truck rolled through and stopped with a gentle jolt. Joliet again. The loading bay. My bay. 47. Morning sun. Birds. Like nothing had happened. My logbook lay open on the dash. Stamped. Load received. The trailer was empty. I checked the floor, bare, except for 2 bare footprints in a faint black smear, like someone had walked out calmly. I went to the office. A man I didn't recognize sat behind the glass. "Name?" he asked. I told him. He scanned his list. "You're not scheduled." I showed him my paperwork. He frowned. "These are 3 years old." I laughed. He didn't. I pulled out my phone. April 3rd, 2027. My chest locked. No messages. No calls. No evidence I'd existed for the past 3 years. I drove to my apartment. Gone. Lease terminated. Forwarding address unknown. I called dispatch. Number disconnected. No record of me. Not in their system. Some nights now, I wake up to the sound of soft pacing in the trailer. I check, of course, there's nothing. But the sleeper always smells faintly of damp metal. And sometimes, if I stop too long, I hear the voice again, right behind my ears, whispering something I can't quite translate. But I understand. I know what it means. One day, someone else will walk into that lounge, and I'll be the man slumped in the corner, hoodie up, staring without breathing, waiting for someone to notice. Every load has weight. Even the ones that don't show up on the bill of lading. Especially those.